Welcome to the Kenny Veach Cave mystery. Today I wanted to share with you a strange finding that was caught on camera on Google Earth satellite imagery. In recent time, the user by the name of Odd Man Out from YouTube has done a couple of videos to do with the Kenny Veach Cave case, looking for potential signs or clues, explanations, with questions. It just so happened that the location of interest, which we're looking at today, a location which captures a strange giant symbol on the ground, Odd Man Out covered. Feel free to check their channel out whenever you have time, but right now I want to do my own analysis and put things into perspective as to what it could mean by doing a map analysis of the area and giving a backstory as well. And I think it's important that I introduce that to you right now. This area of interest isn't far from the road called Pine Nut Road, an area which Scott Natal visited in the past when searching for Kenny Veach and clues to the M Cave. Although it being far away from the actual hiking area, there was some reason for Scott to be searching there. Though, as time went on, and with hearing of information in the background, I believe there was a search conducted at the time of finding Kenny Veach's scent at the mineshaft. I personally can't remember where it was mentioned, but I did make a video of it in the past, that Kenny Veach's scent was found near Pine Nut Road, which is a bit strange because it's further away from the parking spot where Kenny Veach parked his vehicle, in which he went up Little Jermay Canyon. Could it have been a mistake with information in the background? Who knows? Or does it tie in with Kenny Veach backtracking from the mineshaft, coming back to his vehicle and walking down to Pine Nut Road? That would make more sense as a possibility. Nevertheless, with Pine Nut Road potentially having Kenny Veach's scent roughly in the area, following that road further up, that's where you will see the giant symbol on the ground. Is there any possible link that this symbol captured on camera has any resemblance or reference to the M Cave? Is it linked with Kenny Veach? Because when it comes to people and mysteries or those that may need help, sometimes people go to desperate measures and actions by leaving a trail, a trace, a sign or a symbol on the ground, sometimes big enough to alert people from the air if anyone's passing by, such as a plane, a helicopter, maybe even satellite imagery. But maybe then it's too late. Nevertheless, we need to take a look at it today to put things into perspective, to get a better idea of the location, and for those that may have forgotten, to put it back on the map. Make sure not to go anywhere. For those who are currently hearing this live premiere, welcome. Feel free to share your thoughts, opinions in the live chat in general. And if you want to leave any comments down below, you're welcome to do so. You want to catch up on the recent videos, top right corner of this screen where the eye symbol is. If you click on that, you'll be able to follow from there. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into this strange finding. Here we are, satellite. We've got different markers scattered around. Don't be too confused by them. We're focusing on this symbol down here. And in the highlighted zone, which is like a road itself, a dirt one, that's Pine Nut Road, in case you're wondering. As for the symbols further up, such as here, the orange outline is the original hike route by Kenny Veach. And as for the markers of interest, Kenny Veach's car parked there on the 10th of November 2014 when he set out one last time. And as for the mineshaft, where it's marked right there, that's where his phone and coins were found on the 22nd of November 2014 by search and rescue, right? This is the tent and sword found by Scott Natal. We don't need to focus on that today, but just to bring it in for attention in case you're wondering, Scott Natal here being the one who went to Pine Nut Road and was exploring down there. Was there a real reason as to why? I want to know Jeff Clark's point of view, maybe Atari's. Is this one of the key examples of Scott Natal going elsewhere because he supposedly had intel to suggest, even though it wasn't really backed up and could have been a load of BS. I want to know your thoughts there. Okay. Flip the image slightly. So you can see the difference in between. You got Gas Peak Road, the camping area, right? As it's labelled here. Is this the actual spot? I guess so. Sometimes the markers can be roughly placed in the area. But interestingly enough, just over that way, look, Gas Peak. And you may wonder, does this have any significance behind it? Well, yes, Kenny Veach noted that he went here in the past. So on his Cave hike video on his YouTube channel, which was uploaded in October, and he probably did the hike in October 2014, he made a reference to a past hike in which he visited this location. So he's familiar with this area. Is there a small chance that supposedly with Kenny Veach's scent being found near, or somewhat near, to Pine Up Road, is that because he was on the way to Gas Peak after making his way to the mine shaft on the 10th of November? Now, if there's anybody watching, any witnesses from the past, do you remember that video that I did back then to do with the scent found in a different location? When looking back at it, I think it's at around 29,000 views by now, which is reasonable, to be fair. But there must have been something that I looked at in the past, and take in mind, material, comments and stuff like that can disappear with time, and just the sheer volume and load of information from time to time, you may forget the odd thing. It's understandable. But there was definitely something that I read in the past. Was it influenced by Gene Lukowski? I don't believe so. The way how I worded it in my video, I wasn't crediting him from what I can remember. Whether it be a news article that I read back then, or if it was some kind of comment elsewhere. It's hard to put my finger on it, but it was definitely an official reference made by Search and Rescue that Kenny Veach's scent was found near to Pine Up Road. You could argue and say maybe when they said near to Pine Up Road, they basically said, or what they were meaning to say was Joe May Road. And to be honest, the nearest road to Joe May Road, if you used to look on the right hand side, is Pine Up Road, which is almost opposite Corn Creek Visitor Centre. So it's a possible mistake to make, right? Poor wording, wrong language used, because there is a bit of distance between the two roads. Though in terms of them being the closest, probably the closest, right? I mean, you got the road here which goes through the Black Hills Gap. I don't know if that's the Cow Corral Road or if that's further up, but nevertheless, I would say that Joe May Road is closer to Pine Up Road. So if they're saying that the scent was found near to Pine Up Road, they actually meant where Kenny Veach parked, it would have been easier to just said Joe May Road, right? But if they genuinely meant there was a scent closer to Pine Up Road, well then it would make me believe and think that Kenny parked his vehicle here on the 10th, made his way up to the mine shaft where the orange marker is. And I say that because Kenny Veach's phone and coins were found there, and his scent, his own scent, right? I know there's some exceptions with alternative theories, but just stick with this one for now. Kenny Veach made it to here, then stopped, turned back around and made his journey back to his vehicle. But he didn't get into it because the vehicle was left there. So possibly he made his way on foot on lower ground, walking around this area to get to Gas Peak Road and camping area, either making it onto Gas Peak or going up this way, Pine Up Road. It goes in and out the Yucca Gap. And upon doing so, making his way over that way, heading north, but on the other side of Sheep Peak. So, kind of interesting, right? And that's just talking about the scent, right? We haven't even got to the giant symbol yet, okay? But I just want to combine one mystery or one interesting piece of info from the past with this finding, okay? It just so happens, as I said, when I did my video in the past to do with the alternative scent found elsewhere, I did indirectly come across this symbol back then, okay? I didn't do a dedicated video to it because I wasn't expecting to come across it at the time, but I think it's worth doing so now. And it rejogged my memory, to be honest, because Odd Man Out, the user on YouTube, did a video recently, so I thought, you know what, I'll give you my point of view, my thoughts as to what it could be, okay? And there was a comment as well by someone which I can read out later. Is there much significance on this side? Because it's quite a vast area. You've got, you know, a dirt road here, which has roughly been laid out. It's probably not the neatest, granted, okay? I mean, was it that neat anyway? Well, to be honest, the road is actually here. I've gone off road. Oh, Silver Heels let go of the wheel, so we ended up going far off. So don't take it too accurate. Pine Nut Road here, okay? The marker went a bit off. I just wanted to do an outline though, so you get an idea, because sometimes it can overlap with the area of interest. And you can see how it winds in and out. Very interesting, to be honest, right? Oh, and then it connects here. All under control. I knew exactly what I was doing, right? You got Peekaboo Canyon, and make over that way to Twin Butties, whatever you want to call it. Sure, Americans will have a meltdown again for pronunciation, but never mind. And then, can you see that road there? Same one, okay? Once it gets to this point here, it branches off to Peekaboo, but we follow it this way, okay? It does make its way. I'll just flip the image slightly because it keeps getting too low. Right, can you see the symbol we're making our way to, and it literally passes by it on the side. Sounds very interesting now. So because there is an access road and it is public, is there a link? But the reason why that symbol's there is because of this road. Well, it's a possibility. We'll get to in a second. There's Sheep Peak over that way, and then obviously on the other side, going down, lower down in the canyon, you got Little Jeremy Canyon. So we're not far from Kenny Veach's hike route in that sense, but we're on the complete opposite side. And the significance to that, at least in the past, was the theory that did Kenny Veach make it up to Sheep Peak or an area like that? J Chuck said he went up there, he camped up there and didn't find anything. But as for the suggestions of on the other side, right? On the other side of the mountain, or possibly lower down, any sign or indication. Now, Scott Natal did his hikes down Pine Nut Road, but I don't know how much he actually covered. I don't think he did make it up to these mountains here. Now, J Chuck or Jeff Clark, if you've got any backstory as for this side, near to Pine Nut Road, closer to Sheep Peak, on this side, coordinates given as example, Jeff Clark, J Chuck, has this area been searched, or is there still unfinished business? I'm not talking about the peak, I'm talking about on the other side when you come down to somewhere like here, okay? Just out of interest. Yes, it does look steep, it does look dangerous, but if there was any way or possibility that Kenny Veach fell onto the other side and tumbled down somehow, would it need to be searched? Now, in the distance, those symbols you don't need to worry or think about for now. That's something completely different, okay? So, I think what we should do possibly with the whole scent situation, because it needs to be acknowledged, what's the actual distance from the vehicle? Roughly speaking, okay? 5.65, round up to about 5.7 miles from Kenny Veach's parked vehicle down Jeremy Road, all the way up to the beginning of Pine Nut Road, right? That's the distance. Now, if you was to say Kenny Veach is responsible for this symbol, well, we can measure it right now. I personally don't think he is responsible, but tying it in with, you know, the alternative theories, because you are welcome and acknowledged. If Kenny Veach was to go up Pine Nut Road to this point where the X symbol is, what is it? Round it up about 20 miles. Now, to be fair, 20 miles Kenny Veach said he would go about 45 miles north. He didn't say if that was there and back or 45 miles in one direction only. If it was there and back, you could argue and say this isn't far off. So you go up to the mine shaft for some reason, you drop your items off, then you get back to your vehicle, okay? That can take 3 to 4 hours going to the mine shaft, right? There and back, 2 lots of 3 to 4 hours, possibly. That seems quite demanding, to be fair. But then from the vehicle coming down to the Gas Peak Camping Road and the Pine Up Road, which is about 5 point something miles, and then going onwards to here, in total 20 miles, and then all the way back another 20 miles. It ties in line with what Kenny Veach may have suggested in that text message with Hunter Veach, but it's very, very impractical and probably not likely. But if you wanted to apply one thing with another, this is one way of looking at it. That's all I'm saying, okay? So I appreciate people's patience. We're going to zoom on in now, right? So you had the road, as we said, this one here, Pine Up Road, at least from what we can remember. And just a bit further up, just here, on the side. Can you see? Seems a little bit out of place. Now, it must be fairly big for it to be noticeable on Google Earth satellite imagery. It's not tall. It's like scraped into the ground. So like if you had like rocks or dirt, you've like scraped it out. So it's somewhat shallow, but clear. It's like when you draw your finger in the sand, kind of like that, but on a slightly bigger scale. But as for the width, fairly wide for it to be noticeable on satellite imagery. And it comes up pretty clear. Now take in mind, back when I looked at this in the past, I was looking at 2019 satellite imagery. What we're looking at now, is it any newer? Possibly. On this side, I think that's outdated. This side, it's more up to date. If I'm correct in saying this should be 2024 imagery. Where you see that split, that divide, right? That's because two pieces have been stitched together. The one on the right is outdated imagery, the one on the left is more up to date. But one thing for certain was, the outdated imagery which I looked at in the past when it was 2019 satellite imagery, this symbol was still there. It's not changed. It's not disappeared. Okay? How long has this been here for? I don't know personally. If people are interested in this, if anyone, if this wasn't debunked, let's just put it that way, and it remained a mystery, if you were interested, I can always do a Google Earth Pro satellite analysis by going back in time to see when it first appeared, right? If you're interested, be sure to let me know, either in the comment section or somewhere else on my channel, okay? Interesting. So you could say X. You could say an X, or you could argue and say a cross, but it is slightly crooked, so it's probably more likely to be an X. And what does X have anything to do with the M cave when, considering in recent time, we looked at something which had been solved, but was a bit more peculiar because at the time it came across translated as the letter M, a symbol on a rock. And you'd think that a symbol on a rock which translates to the alphabetical letter M would have more significance and a strange link to the M cave, matching the symbol, the sign, right? Whereas this here is an X, not an M. Though you think of treasure hunting, you think of pirates, and even modern time, X marks the spot. Why would it need to be so big to make it so prominent? Is someone responsible for creating this by suggesting that this is the area to the M cave, or that this was created by Kenny Veach? Personally, what I would say is it wouldn't have been caused by Kenny Veach, because if he was in distress or he needed help, there's no point going on to cover another 20 miles to then do an SOS sign, and an X wouldn't be clear enough as that you need help. Literally etching SOS in the ground would be of more use and benefit to a person that was struggling or in trouble. An X symbol doesn't really mean that much. It's hard to translate what it means, right, on the situation. So I don't think Kenny Veach is responsible for this, okay? Do I see anything of interest though? Does anything stand out? Well, it looks to be a different colour, but that's likely because the ground was scraped. As for end to end, there's not much going on. Maybe a couple of rocks, there's some trees, not trees, bushes, vegetation. Now, what's nearby? Any caves? No, it's flat ground, as you can see. What's it closest to? Sheep Peak, not too far away. But as for this road, right, it drives right past it. So this area is public. People can pass through at this moment in time and in the past as well. This area I don't think was encompassed by the initial military land proposal takeover as we saw in the past. So this should have been and remained okay. You know, in case you were thinking was there some kind of like government links or military related, this area, from at least what I'm aware of and my knowledge, you can publicly go down Pine Up Road, and Scott Natal did so himself. I wonder if Scott captured this on camera though. I can't remember, I don't remember seeing it. But with this being a public road, anyone could have created that if they were messing about, possibly. If this is an access road and it's tied with some kind of surveillance, some kind of equipment in the area, some kind of radio signals or satellite, maybe this is a spot for it. The symbol to signify that it's some kind of satellite spot where end to end there are satellites, or in the middle, maybe. Now, there have been other symbols like this elsewhere, and I don't know if I'll be able to find them, but I'm sure I can have a quick look later on, which was on military land, and it's just to do with military equipment, military, maybe radios, satellites and all that. And I'm sure Jay Silverheels did a video in the past coming across these strange markings in the ground, but it wasn't mysterious. It wasn't to do with Kenny or the M Cave, okay? But considering this is further away and it's not on military land, so it would be accessible, would this have any link applying to Kenny Veach or the M Cave? And personally, being honest, I don't think it has any link to M Cave nor Kenny Veach. And the reason why I say that is there's not much else going for it, the surrounding land. There's no caves, no mine shafts from what I can see at least. So there'd be no reason to leave a sign or a symbol here to signify something, right? It's interesting then, I'll be honest. When I did zoom in, I can't really see much. Okay, I see the X, but it doesn't seem to be filled in, or I can't see any equipment or actual satellites. So why am I suggesting it could be a spot for satellite or equipment? Maybe it once was in the past. Possibly items moved on. One way of looking at it. Move on down here. It's kind of like a bit of a wash. See, it dips down. Not much going on there, to be honest. Dips slightly. It's just like vegetation from the looks of it. And the wash continues down that way. Where does it collect? Kind of disperses low down here, makes its way down. What about the road? If we follow the road up, where would that lead us to, out of interest? What does it happen here? Like a turnaround point, possibly? It kind of comes to an end. Because up this way, it doesn't really look like a road. I could be wrong, but it doesn't look like one. No. Maybe you can walk up it, but probably not drive. So, what's the point of that? You got this road here which passes by an X. You follow the dirt road up. You follow it up, and then it kind of disperses and comes to an end. What's the point of that? Does anyone know the reasoning behind this? So this supposedly still is the continuation of Pine Up Road. You drive up it, you go past the X, and You've gone past Sheep Peak. You're going up to these mountains in which in the distance you've got Hayford Peak over that way. But up here you just come to a bit of a dead end from the looks of it. What's the point of that? Is it a turnaround spot? Shouldn't there be a sign out there? How many or who would go up this far to then just turn back round? You know, anyone got any explanation there? Let me know in the comments. So, there we go. Now, what about those symbols elsewhere? Well, this is very quick, and I might not be able to find them. Oh, I think I did. Got some symbols in the ground there, but this is like military land, so, right, you see the outline of it. I believe these are like roads, dirt roads, which vehicles can go on, correct me if I'm wrong. And maybe it does look strange, it does look interesting, but take in mind this is restricted military land, so it's not like you can go on it, right? Yes, there are symbols, it does look strange. Yeah, is that Area 51? No, it can't be. Let me just see where I've zoomed out. Yeah, no, it's not Area 51, that's further up. Indian Springs. I did do a map analysis. I did an outline of the restricted land, okay, in case you were wondering. But I think this was like an example area of what... Who was it now? What do you have here? Bone Dog like model test city. Is this like one of those test cities for the military? Must be. Personally, I've not really looked into this before. That's kind of interesting, that. I guess maybe with being updated satellite imagery, there's more developed now, possibly. Unfortunately, it's not 3D rendered, so that's a shame. But yeah, will it show up any imagery? No, it doesn't. That's a shame, but if it's to do with military, they probably wouldn't show much. Oh wow, look at that. Does that have any text symbols? No, it's just boxes. How interesting. Interesting. Was there any more symbols in the ground, outlines which stood out, strange? There'll probably be more, to be honest, but I'm only having a quick look. But the X is quite prominent, a lot clearer, and we're being more accessible to public. How does it link? Now, let's just move over to the comment section of the video that I did in the past to see what people had to say. Well, I've got the comments here. J Chuck said he was working on a response video. That was 2 years ago, but that was to do with Kenny being picked up, the fairy, not to do with the X symbol. But I adjusted to the newest. What's the latest people that have come back or come across this video for the first time? 11 months ago. Damn, that's the last time a person commented on this video. 11 months ago. That's not great, is it? What did they say? Maybe the scent was lost due to the mine being filled in. Well, hikers have been gone in the mines and there wasn't too much oddness going on. You said that may explain why the scent was lost and how it was picked up again at Pine Nut Road. Yeah, but picked up again, it's in a completely different direction. There's about 5.6 mile difference between the two spots. It seems a bit out of this world. Not really, a bit strange. Hiked over the ridge to Pine Nut Road and got picked up at that location. Hiked over the ridge, what, going up to Sheep Peak? It'd be a bit of an effort to do so though, wouldn't it? Then this guy, Kles, the X is a configuration spot for satellites. There we go. Interesting. I suggested satellites earlier on in this video. Let me know if any of you agree with this, that the X symbol is a configuration spot. So if it's for satellites, does that mean there are currently satellites situated at that spot right now? Or is it a former place? I wonder. Considering that the road which leads up to it, if you go on further, from the looks of it, leads to a dead end, I don't know, it kind of makes me believe it's something to do with satellites more so. If you had like a maintenance vehicle that has to plod on down there. Yeah. What's it? Still no comment on the blinking lights there in the first canyon to the left of the red line. They're not natural in this video. In this video? Oh, is that the Scott Natal one? Do a lot of solo hiking. No. Blinking lights. Was there another one? Charles. I left 2 comments. Whose video? Warlike Raff discussing Kenny Veach possible routes. There are possibly Scott Natal's video. Oh, I'll have to look at that sometime. What's this one? Carly, how about instead of talking, you try it, see how doable it is? Well, I think, Carly, even though we're 1 year too late, has your vocabulary and spelling improved since then? Because it's a bit of a pathetic poor excuse of a comment, this, to be honest. What else do we have here? No creature picked him up at this point, I believe. Overthinking this, he's probably somewhere down the mine shaft. That's what I mean. Oh, the mine shaft is a great scapegoat, just because a phone and coins were found there. And yet it's the one place which has been searched the most and has received the most visitors in that specific spot, a beacon. And people have gone into the mine shaft. No bones, no signs of Kenny, right? How many more times do we have to replay or repeat this? I think it is extremely stupid and silly, in my opinion, that Kenny Veach would end his life in a mine shaft, right? And yeah, what, you're going to bury yourself in the process of doing it? I don't know, it just seems silly. It would make more sense going in a very vast, desolate place, away from everyone, tucked away into the mountains, possibly. Small little hole, cave system, very small, hard to reach, and you do it in there. But in a mine shaft where it's still open and people come up to there, and it's a starting spot for most hikers, at least when they do their videos and coverage, I think Kenny would be standing out clearer. Now you could say, well, there's a collapse of fill-in, but people have been down there. No one's suspected any suspicion within that mine shaft, with the exception of the skull, right? What's this? I don't trust Google Maps at all. I put my doctor's surgery in the middle of the city where it's really in the suburbs. Yeah, fair enough. 1 year ago, Christy. I didn't know Christy commented on this video. Oh, maybe it's not as long as I think. Yeah. Right, so there's really not much mention about the X, but then again, the video that I did back then, it wasn't focusing directly on it, was it? What's this? Charlotte, warlike, you kill me. What the hell? Kenny can't be dead. What the fuck? So many hikers out there, but no MK. Kenny must be alive. Must be a grey by now. What's it with the capital letters? What did I say? I think you need to keep up to date with my latest videos. And the thing is, Charlotte, have you been keeping up with the videos? Yes or no? I wonder. Not much more going on here, to be fair. I'm only looking at it briefly. Okay. Faked his death. There's over like 100 comments, so I think we'll leave it there for now. In conclusion to that all, I would say that giant X symbol, as strange as it is, and the scale of it, at least when looking at satellite imagery, I don't believe it links to Kenny Veach, his disappearance, his whereabouts. I don't think it links to the M cave at all. Though I do agree it's interesting about the talk of Kenny Veach's scent near or down Pine Nut Road, and with Scott Natal investigating down there, supposedly not coming across anything at the time. Maybe it does tick it off the list, unless closer to the mountain area on the other side, near to Sheep Peak, there could be somewhere. But if that's been searched as well, then we can tick it off the list. Now, some people could argue and say, well then, because of this, why are we linking or associating it with the Kenny Veach M Cave case? Well, at the end of the day, this video is a discussion about it, whether it does link or it doesn't. So there is a theme to begin with. And as I said, there are links in the past with the scent near Pine Nut Road, and Pine Nut Road leads up to that giant X symbol. So obviously, could there be a link? That's the discussion of this video, if people understand. And with the current theme or the recent theme of symbols here or there or on rocks, are they old, new, were they created, man-made, natural? Is it to do with the case? Has it been captured on a hike? Things like that, right? Now, from what I can remember, Scott Natal didn't capture this X on this X symbol on camera. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Apologies if I am. But because of the area he was in, wouldn't have been that far from it. So like these like links along the way, right? That might not directly link, but that could be associated with a certain hike or a certain investigation within the area because it's in proximity. So that's my thoughts there. I hope people understood this video. It was a bit of a mystery. Call it a sub-mystery, call it a mini-mystery, kind of within the Kenny Veach case and a hike in the past. And as well, an indirect response video to the user Odd Man Out when they did their coverage in recent time. I just wanted to add on with my thoughts and points of view. Okay, so I think that clears that up for now. This is all good. Ticking things off the list here and there. Some people, not all, will like that because it feels like their fantasy is closing in on them. But, you know, you can still be hopeful that there might be another mystery or dark thing around the corner. You never know. Things are unpredictable at times. So, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Feel free to like and share this video. That would be appreciated. And we'll see what happens next time. For now, goodbye and good night.